Welcome to this episode of Our College Your Voices. I am your host, Kara Monroe. Today we are joined by Marwin Strong, an Ivy Tech alumni who was born and raised in Muncie, Indiana. If you're not from the Muncie area, you probably first heard the name Marwin Strong in episode 112, our Meeting of the Minds episode, where our library team talked about some of the work that Marwin is doing with Ivy Tech campuses around his book. But we're excited to have Marwin with us today. Marwin has recently expanded his career into motivational speaking and is the owner of Marwin Strong Motivation, LLC. In June 2020, Marwin published Back from the Shadow of Death. After a near-fatal attack by an unknown assailant, he made a dramatic comeback from his former life by starting his own in-the-trenches war against drugs and violence. Through adversity, his message is achieving dreams is possible for everyone. He will be sharing with us a little about his past, his book, his Ivy Tech story, and what he believes is needed for students to overcome adversity and challenges in the classroom. I'm so excited to have you on the show today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am Marwin Strong, a Muncie native. Love my city of Muncie, Indiana. I was born to Martha Strong. She raised 8 beautiful children, and also my father, Michael Hall, as well, which I love dearly as well. So I got a total of 16 sisters and brothers.
Wow.
So I'm blessed, great family. Very happy to be part of this great podcast. Myself being an outstanding alumni of Ivy Tech, which I love dearly. Got my associate degree in criminal justice. And I'm just happy to be here with you and just share with the world about how great Ivy Tech is.
Excellent. Well, tell us a little bit more about your childhood and about growing up in Muncie.
Well, growing up in Muncie, I didn't grow up with a silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't, my father, he left me at an early age due to him, dealing with heroin and those type of things. So I grew up with 8 sisters and brothers. We didn't have the nicest stuff, the nicest clothes, the nicest shoes, but we were happy. We didn't really know we was poor until we got really older, but we were just a happy family. Living with my grandmother, late Josephine Strong as well, when my mother had to do what she had to do to supply for our family. So growing up in low-stricken poverty area, a single-parent home mother, which I love dearly, which passed away a year and a half ago. Dearly miss her. Went to different schools, from Claypool to, you name it, Garfield, Washington Carver, to Northside, all the way to Muncie Central. Switching in and out of schools. Muncie Community Schools was great. Grew up in an area where my grandmother's in Muncie homes, where a lot of drugs, violence, prostitution, drug dealing, shootings, killings. And so I really grew up in an area where I really thought I had no hope. I always loved basketball, played for Muncie Central, Northside, and those different types of schools. So I grew up in a very, very intriguing neighborhood. And I'm really happy I grew up because it keeps me humble to today, man. So I'm just so excited, man. And, and growing up as an early age, you see a lot. You see a lot of, I done seen people get murdered, killed. I done seen gun battles and those type of things. And later on, we ended up going to California. We stayed in California for a couple of years, Fairfield, California. And we came back and, decided to have our American native here. We here in Muncie. So like they say in the commercial, Muncie is America's hometown. Muncie is America's hometown. So right. I remember that commercial, I like it about this. So I'm just, that was my childhood.
So you're an Ivy Tech alum and you graduated in criminal justice. Tell us your Ivy Tech story.
Well, Ivy Tech is one of those stories where for non-traditional students, I never forget when I got out the hospital, I had to find a way. I was supposed to go to the University of UMass at Boston, but I had to go back to school because I had to have my general electives or whatnot. So I said, wow, man. So I had to have those electives to go to UMass Boston and play basketball. Because I went to UMass Boston after I got the hospital, which I'll tell you guys about that later.
Yeah.
So when I did that, I went to Ivy Tech. I said, I need to go back to school. I've always been a real smart kid. But at the same time, I guess that the neighborhood I was around, I only wanted to play basketball. So I couldn't go to Ball State, couldn't go to Harvard, couldn't go to, because my GPA was down. So when I thought about Ivy Tech, I was like, that's great because it's a non-traditional school. It also, is for older people, not older people, but people that, have kids and families and they can still go to school and get some type of degree. So I fell in love when I first walked in there. Great staff, great people. And I was so happy that it gave me a sense of hope. It gave me a sense of dignity. It gave me a sense of pride again. Like, hey, I'm literally going back to school at the age of 22 years old. My life having not been like easy like everybody else. So me growing up 18 to 22 years old, I didn't care about nothing about school. But that Ivy Tech gave me that sense of love for education, love to know more things, love for the way that was taught. So I had a great time. I never forget my car broke down one time and I needed help with math because I failed math twice. Look at my transcripts, it'll tell you. and I needed help with math and I got a thing called Trio. Life, they call it life skill. I think they call it Trio now. And I never forget, I was like, man, I need help, So I got in contact with Trio, and Trio approved me to be in. And I will never forget my car broke down. They literally paid for my car to get fixed. And I'm like, yo, like, man. And I really fell in love. So they gave me help with my math, and I passed my math and had opportunity to criminal justice. I'll talk about criminal justice because criminal justice, I really didn't have to study. I'll tell you the reason why. The reason I didn't really have to study for the simple fact that I have friends and families and everybody that grew up criminal justice. So I go to court. So I used to go like, what is IN 0001? And I'm like, yo, that's for, for driving without a license. So I really got enthused in criminal investigation, criminal adjudication, and those type of things. So I said, man, that's going to be my major. I fell in love with Ivy Tech. I mean, everywhere, the staff was nice. It was just the love and just myself walking down that aisle to graduate. It gave me, it was beyond me. And it gave me like, you know what, I am somebody.
Yes, you are.
And Ivy Tech gave me that I could go further through life and act that my senior year at Ivy Tech, I actually transferred to Ball State. So I was going to Ball State and Ivy Tech. And they have a collaboration with each other, partnership. I could actually get my degree from both of them. So I go on. I did commercials for Ivy Tech. I did a model for Ivy Tech on billboards. Ivy Tech was my kickstart to where I'm at right now today.
Excellent. Well, let's talk a little bit more about where you are today, because you've got some really exciting things going on. You are an accomplished author. And I'll let you unveil your other surprise that you have. But what gave you the desire to write a book and tell us more about your book and what's going on next?
Yeah, well, my book's called Back from the Shadows of Death. I was at a dark place in my life. Back in 1998, I was supposed to go try for the Charlotte Hornets, and I ended up getting poisoned. Some guys poisoned me at a club, and I ended up spending 2 years in the hospital. And I later lost my life. I've been through speech therapy, occupational therapy. I've been through physical therapy. You name it, I had to learn how to walk again and talk again like a newborn baby. So I was at a place where I did not know I was going to make it. At that time, I made it. I almost passed away 2 times. They called my mom and my father. The family in the doctor room said, nothing else we can do for this young man, just kiss him goodbye. But God had another plan. And I got on my coma and I changed my life. I changed my life for the better. I had 2 children at that time. I have 4 beautiful children now, 5 beautiful children, which I love dearly. And I just really, I decided, it's time to be a man. It's time to look at life. And, there's a scripture said when I was a child, I thought as a child, I spoke as a child. When I became a man, I put away those childish things. And so I just really decided to become a man. Do something different, who I am and where I come from. And I wanted to be that limelight to my neighborhood. You can come out of poverty. You can come out of living in a single parent home. So I wanted to be that. I wanted to be that. I wanted to step forward to do that. Well, with that being said, I went through some other situations. My mother, she got ill. She had a stroke. But my mother always said, Marwin, you got to write that book. Write the book about what you've been through. I'm like, man, like, mama, okay. A lot of times we'd be like, whatever. We push it to the side. But the more my mother kept telling me that, she kept saying, Marwin, you got to do that. And the more I start watching my mother health go downhill, I had to find something to really like it's like a therapy. So I just started writing. Never was an author, never tend to write no book. And I was talking to my mom one day, and I said, Mom, well, what should I call this book? She said, baby, call it Back from the Shadows of Death. And she said, I'm going to tell you what, people all over the world going to love this book. And it's like she's seeing something in me that I didn't see. You know, mothers see that.
They do.
And I'm like, wow. So I just started writing a book. And then I had an interview with Ball State University. They had an African-American interview with them. I had like an hour and 27 minutes. It's on every college campus all over the world. They had an African-American study about my life in Muncie, Indiana. And voila, there you have it. And that's when I came back from the shadows of death, back from the shadows of death. So what happens is when I did that, why I did it is because I wanted people to see that here you got is a young man from Muncie, Indiana, and he come from a single parent home. You've seen people get killed, shot, prostitution, that even though you come from where you come from, you don't have to end up like that. You don't have to end up in prison. You don't have to end up, being on crack, cocaine. You don't have to end up selling drugs. You can still be successful. And that's why I did it. And I just not do it for Muncie. I did it for every young kid around the world that have been through different situations, different things that they have dealt with, where they can see, even though you come from there, you can still be better. Because it's not where you start, it's where you finish. And my job is not finished. I almost died, and I really came back to really come back with that thing, back from the shadows of death, because I almost died. And the book is powerful. I've sold thousands of books all over the world, from UK to Canada to Saudi Arabia to Army recruits. I sold it to New Jersey, and it's 19 chapters. Right now I'm working on, I got a curriculum that you can actually teach it in schools, from criminal justice, business law, to sociology, to, you name it. I got curriculum in English and all that stuff. So they could literally learn from my book. So with that being said, all these things has happened, myself having different type of book signings and working with other people out of Phoenix and Washington and those type of things, I got to prove that Muncie Indiana will have a whole movie about my life over the book. And it will be coming out in 2022. We're going through some red tape right now, but the book will be called actually Back from the Shadows of Death. So I'm just excited and delighted and so happy. I'm trying to get at Ball State libraries. I'm trying to get my book in Ivy Tech and just all around the world, just let people see. And I think there'll be more inspiration, because I know it's a lot of people that have dealt with these type of situations. And especially with the way the world is going now, with racial bias, with government. I was in the government. So I just look at this book and I'm like, man, this is a right on time book for the world.
It is. Marwin, I'd love to know if there's a final message that you have to share with our audience. You've packed so much inspiration into your message. And what's one thing you want to leave with our listeners?
Well, the one thing I want to leave, especially with those students at Ivy Tech, you must got to understand that even though you may have dropped out of school, got your GED, you may have went to school and didn't have a good GPA, you may went to school and had a baby, and you feel like there's no way out. I'm here to tell you, to give you hope. I'm here to let you know that no matter what you've been through your life, no matter what you went through, you can still get that degree. Ivy Tech is my community college, what we say. It's your community college, and it's very family orientated. The good thing I loved about Ivy Tech to the students as well is that it's a really, really impersonal type of place. It's more like a classroom. It's not like 500 people in one auditorium. It's more personable. You got tutors, you got those type of things. So anything I could say to you guys, if I can do it from what I've been through, you could do it too. So there's no excuses. So go out and get your degrees, whether you're nursing, criminal justice, whether you want to be whatever you want to be in life, public administration, you can do it. Be like Nike and just do it.
Absolutely. Very good. Very good. Marwin, tell us how people can reach out to you and get a hold of you.
Yes, I have a website that you get my book. It's www.marwinstrong.com. That's where it mainly go through. My book is also on Amazon, Barnes & Nobles, which is going to be having in bookstores as well. Amazon, Book of Millions, Independent. I just got a great avenue. I just found out that R.D. Taylor Book Publishing. They just picked up my book online in the stores in New Jersey. My book come out of United Kingdom. So United Kingdom got my books online. So you get the books everywhere. So this is amazing. And I just want people to know that you can follow me on Facebook. I got my own Facebook account, Back from the Shadows of Death. They got thousands of people over the world. I also do prison ministry. I do a prison ministry. I got like 567 people from Delaware County that's in prison, incarcerated right now. They have an opportunity to get my book. It's so many ways that you could get it. You can also email me at www.marwinstrong30.com if you would like me to do any type of speaking engagements at your schools, your universities.
And that's MarwinStrong30@gmail.com.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Marwin Strong LLC as well. So there's so many ways to get my book. And I just appreciate you allowing me to be here with this podcast. I really do.
Well, we are so glad to have you. And Marwin, I'll make sure we confirm with you all of those contact details and where your book is sold. And I will put those in our show notes. So as our listeners know, we end every episode with a call to action. And today is to check out Marwin's book or to reach out to him as a possible resource for your courses or for speaking engagements or for other activities. Marwin, it's just been a pleasure getting to know you a little bit better today. Thank you so much for joining the podcast.
Yeah, thank you as well.
I'm your host, Kara Monroe. You can connect with me on Twitter at KNM Tweets. Our producer is Sarah Ferguson. Leave us a voicemail at 317-572-5049, or you can reach us by email at ourcollegeofvoices@ivytech.edu. Our website is ivytech.edu/podcast. Production assistance for this and every episode provided by Becky Campbell and the Ivy Tech Community College Creative Services team. And our podcast concept is by Matthew Pittman. Theme music and post-production services provided by the amazing Jen Eads at the Brassy Broadcasting Company, and we will see you next time on Our College, Your Voices.